I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and there's another paid request, this time for Ben. Thank you for that, and for anyone who wants to request pretty much any other type of videos or topics or reactions or randomness or anything in between, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for a film called Narc, which, yes, I know, I finally got around to seeing it all the way through. I had not seen it all the way through before, but finally did, and I liked it. And here's the thing, I'm not a big Joe Carnahan guy. I'm just not. I'm not big on the A-Team. I love the show, not so much the movie. I like Liam Neeson. Shelter Copley is fine, but Rampage Jackson, I didn't care for the way the action scenes were directed. I didn't care for the overusage of CGI. And I get it, it's trying to be big, dumb fun, but when it got to that tank scene, even I'm knowing, the A-Team was ridiculous. This was just too fucking much for my blood. And also with Joe Carnahan, he wasn't a fan of the A-Team show. He did the film because he did not do Mission Impossible, and he was pissed. He's like, fuck it, I want to do a Mission Impossible type of movie to get my feet into that little fucking pool. Only the pool was filled with piss because he's like, oh, I'm a little pissed on the A-Team because I don't like them. He said this in an interview. I don't give a shit about the A-Team, but which is why the A-Team was like a shitty version of Mission Impossible. But anyway. Hey, what can I say? I'm a big fan of the TV show, so the movie can go fuck itself, in my opinion. The Grey I could not get into. I like Liam Neeson, but The Grey, okay, it's a survival movie where no one survives. Just not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. And the CGI wolves, and I don't know. Liam Neeson was good. Liam Neeson gave a solid performance. I just wish it was from a better director with not CGI wolves and a better ending. Or an ending I would prefer more. Again, just not my cup of tea. And didn't he do... Was it... No, David Ayer did Sabotage, right? With Arnold Schwarzenegger. Joe Carnahan. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of him, but I will say, to be fair, he did a good job with this. This is probably the best film I've seen him do. In particular because of the actors. Like Jason Patric, I've given him some crap in the past because I do think he did a terrible job in Speed 2. Granted, the script wasn't much either to roam about, but Jason Patric out there, I thought was bland and boring in Speed 2. But he's good in The Lost Boys, and you know what? He did a solid job here as a cop who something happens, he's away, he's with his wife and his baby, He just brought back in on this case where there's a dead cop, and he's paired up with Ray Liotta's character, who was the dead cop's partner, and Ray Liotta is much more of the wild, crazy guy. Jason Patric's a little bit more of the on the straight and narrow guy, but then things kind of blend together. And you've seen this kind of film before, whether it be before or after this film. You've seen this kind of film before, whether it be The French Connection, which is funny because William Friedkin actually talks about this movie, because Joe Carnahan, one of the inspirations he had was The French Connection, and being a big fan of that. But also like Dark Blue with Kurt Russell, even to an extent Training Day. So you've seen this kind of film before. Two cops, one's more crazy than the other. They're on a case. You know, the way it's shot reminds you a little bit of a CSI episode, like the way certain filters are used. Like if you watch CSI Miami, it's much more of an orange filter. You watch another one. So this one's definitely blue. Blue is the color I think of. But I do think that the script and the acting is fairly solid. You know, because even the way it begins is like, oh shit, okay. Where's this going to go now? And when it gets to the ending, there's definitely some nice emotion and pathos. And you're not going into this for action scenes. It's not an action movie. It is more of a cop movie. And it's definitely more about the characters and the way they're written, and how Jason Patric, because of what happened at the beginning, there's a certain morality he wants to follow, and then that gets kind of shaken up by the third act. And even to a point he thinks one thing's going on, but it's not exactly how he thinks it is. And I have to go into spoilers, because to better explain the beginning of the film. Jason Patric, the camera's very frenetic as he's on this frenzy chasing after his suspect, and he's being irresponsible. He's shooting wildly, does kill the guy, but the bullet also hits a pregnant lady and she miscarriages. And you can tell that guilt follows him a lot. He's off the force. He's with his wife and his baby, but then Chi McBride, who I remember he played Will Smith's boss in iRobot, he brings him back to the fold to find these cop killers. And again, the cop who was killed was partnered with Ray Liotta. And again, Ray Liotta, he's more the crazy guy, and he did a fantastic job. Ray Liotta, I think he's a good actor, really solid, underrated actor, I would say. It's sad, he doesn't get to play a lot of good guys, and this one he's more of a gray character. He's not a bad guy, in my opinion. He's just more of a gray character. As he does have faults within himself, maybe a bit of hypocrisy within himself, but I would not call him a bad guy. Does some shady things, to be fair, but usually he's tasked to play the villain because he can do them very well, whether it be on Lawful Entry with Kurt Russell, even Goodfellas. On the flip side, he's just a very intense performer. I mean, Copland, he did a great job in Copland, and he was a fairly good guy in that, again, with faults. You want to come at them head on? You got Zach. I love Copland. But getting back to this, I think he's very energetic. But it's not over the top. I don't think it was hamming it up. I don't think it was too ridiculous or silly. It was just intense. Really adamant to be on this case. Isn't sure about Jason Patric. And Jason Patric held his own. Again, there's some films I've seen with Jason Patric where I thought he was bland and boring. Not the case here. Maybe because he was passionate. From what I understand, the actors did not take much money for this role, so that must have been something they were very passionate about, and maybe that's what upped Jason Patric's acting game for this one compared to Speed 2, and there's a few other films I've seen him in, I'm like, eh. Because of Jason Patric, it's either him dealing with his home life, and his wife's like, I'm tired of you being part of this, I can't do this again, this is where I hit the wall, I can't do it anymore. So he's dealing with that, as well as dealing with, being on this case. And Ray Liotta, like I said, he did some really nice, solid acting moments. Like there's a bit where they're in a car, and Ray Liotta's telling a story about how he found this girl whose stepdad was pimping her out. And he just went and just beat the fuck out of the guy. Beat the motherfucker half to death. And I thought the way he told the story, and then you see a flashback with that happening. I did a really nice emotional moment where he's thinking about it. Even before that, where Jason Patric's asking whether he's married or not, and the way Ray Liotta talks about his wife who has passed away. And Patric apologizes, but the way Ray Liotta goes, no, it's okay, man. Hey, it's okay, we're talking wives. You have one, I had one. Conversation like that comes up. I mean, I should take off the ring, but again, he doesn't blow a fuse on that. So there are moments where he can be sensible. There are moments that he can be easygoing. And then at times you're just waiting for him to snap. But it's that constant level of 10. Because I think if you did that, granted, in some movies it's fun, but that could overstay its welcome to the point it's just exhausting. That wasn't the case in this. And pretty much they go from point A to point B to point C, investigating, interrogating. Interrogation to go a bit rough. One guy gets his head pounded so much that the fucking wall caves in. There's like a hole that occurs in the wall. Until you get to the third act. And the third act is fairly lengthy. I mean, the third act, probably a good 20, well, I mean, most third acts are, but yeah, it's about a good 20-30 minutes where they get to these two dealers. One of them played by Busta Rhymes. And then things come to a head, so to speak, and the truth is found out. Now, like I said, the plot, for the most part, you've seen it done many times before in cop films. I wouldn't say it did much incredibly original, but it still did it fairly well, and yet because of the two lead actors, and the way it's shot. I don't know if you're not a big fan of the filter look. I don't know how you feel about it. There are times where Joe Carnahan does some interesting stuff. Like there's a bit where they're investigating a bunch of people and it's 4 screens. Like 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. So it's like 4 little mini TV screens in which they're talking to various people. He doesn't do that too much throughout the film, though. It's mainly that one scene. I don't know if that was a good or a bad thing, but I thought for the scene it was in, it was an interesting way to showcase that. Sort of a different way of showing a montage. And there's some, I guess to put it, weird or crazy ideas. Though the thing in particular is they investigate a dead body, one of the a member who was using a shotgun as a bomb, and they're looking at the scene and they're describing how this may have happened, and then it shows a flashback where the guy was using a shotgun for a bond and then accidentally shot himself in the head. And no, you don't see the gore of that, but just that whole idea, I've never seen that before. I've never heard that before. A guy using a shotgun as a bond. Oh, just something like that. Okay, it's different. Something I've never seen before. So again, you have that mixed in with these two actors playing off each other fairly well. I did, yeah, Jason Patric, this guilt of what happened at the beginning, and maybe this is his way of thinking he'll redeem himself. Like he can do this, he'll do a desk job, and even though he's having friction with his wife, if he gets through this, maybe I did some type of redemption, to get who killed this cop. And then Ray Liotta has some things going on as well. I think that's what helps with the ending is the script did a nice job establishing these two characters. And spoiler alert on the ending. Spoilers. They get the two dealers, including Busta Rhymes, and Ray Liotta's doing some stuff. He wants them to confess on this tape recorder, a forced confession. And because of what some of the dealers say, Jason Patric gets the idea that, maybe Ray Liotta killed his partner. And they have like a butting of heads. And then Ray Liotta brings up what happened with him. Like, him killing the miscarriage of the kid at the beginning because of the bullet Jason Patric shot, and then went to the lady. Pretty much showcasing, listen, you're not the clean-cut guy either, so don't give me your shit. And then Jason Patric fires back, oh yeah, well there's this girl that, remember you told me the story about this girl you saved? Well, I looked into it, and throughout the years she went to drug addiction and you helped her out, and then, what eventually led up to what she's doing nowadays. And then assumes that Ray Liotta killed his partner, and this is his way of cleaning house, so to speak. And I said before, this doesn't do a whole lot original, but I will give credit. I like the way they did the ending, where in a typical movie, yeah, it would have been Ray Liotta, he killed his partner, because, hey, he's Ray Liotta, he's crazy. It's not exactly that route. It's more, as you come to find out, I think Jason Patric thinking Ray Liotta is a killer, shoots Ray Liotta, he's dying. Jason Patric asks him, come on, tell me what happened. Thinking that he's going to tell him what he wants to hear. And Ray Liotta tells the truth, which is his partner was a junkie. And Ray Liotta was tired of covering for him. It's like, you know what, I'm going to tell the department about this. Because he was working with, he got junked from Busta Rhymes in them and some drugs, and Ray Liotta's, I'm tired of cleaning up your shit. You're not cleaning up yourself. I'm going to have to turn you in. And the partner killed himself. The partner shot himself in the head. And I thought Ray Liotta in this flashback did a wonderful job seeing the turmoil and the sadness. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. The guilt that he has of his partner shooting himself, because in essence, Ray Liotta was going to do the right thing. I mean, it seemed at this point Ray Liotta wasn't really that bad of a guy, but it's like, hey, you're doing this, it's wrong. I gotta do the moral what's good as a police officer, and then the guy's like, I don't want to have my life ruined, so I don't shoot myself, and just the tears and the sadness of Ray Liotta, the regret of making that decision, and then he's like, I wanted to get the guys that got him on the drugs. Kind of a, I mean, in a way, it's what Charles Bronson does in like Death Wish 4. Kill the people that got the girl on drugs when she overdosed at the beginning of Death Wish 4, the crackdown. So that's why he was doing all this. Plus, he had with a friend of his the autopsy, because if the guy was found with drugs in the system, that guy's wife and kid would not get the pension and they'd be destitute. And so Ray Liotta was looking out for them, which, you know, was a good moral thing to do. And granted, it was still wrong for him. These two drug dealers did not kill the cop. They didn't. I mean, they're low lives, they're drug dealers, but they didn't kill the cops. So it was still Ray Liotta doing a bad thing, in a way, hypocrisy. Like, you don't turn your partner in because he's on drugs, but now you don't do something also morally irresponsible. And it's also the hypocrisy of Jason Patric, in a way, where now, well, maybe that's the wrong word to use for that instance. Because after Jason Patric hears this, he doesn't say it, but on his face, it does seem like, oh my god, I thought this guy was a killer. He's not. I've now killed him. Ray Liotta's confession to his partner killing himself is on the tape recorder. Now, what is he going to do? It cuts away after. So you're left to think, is he going to use the tape recorder? And, hey, this is the truth. But that one cop's family is not going to get the pension anymore. They're going to be destitute, perhaps. Or he's going to keep it, but then a bit hypocrisy about this moral high ground. Oh, it's black and white, and now it's not so clear. It's a gray area, so. Let alone how is it going to affect his family life, because his, just depending which way he goes, his family life, his wife doesn't want anything to do with him. Is he going to get the desk job? Is he going to work at, I don't know, Sears or Walmart or something? I don't know. So, I get what they were going for. I thought there was, for what it is, an effective ending. But it definitely made me feel, because again, they did a nice job establishing these two main characters, their point of view. Again, before it got to that, you know, going from A to B to C, interrogating people, it was fine. Some of the interactions got some chuckles out of me with how they meet some of these people and how brutally Ray Liotta interrogates them, pretty much bounce them off the walls. But like I said, by that point, other than the shotgun Bond flashback where they find a dead body, it's stuff you've kind of seen before, and a lot of stuff. But again, the way it begins, the shotgun Bond stuff, the way it ends, there's enough little differences, uniqueness to make it, you know, not a carbon copy. It's not a carbon copy of this movie or that movie. It's still its own thing. But I'm just saying, for a chunk of it, it's something you've seen a few times before, quite a few. But I mean, in all fairness, you do say that for a ton of movies. A ton of movies. So that's not really a fair critique. I mean, I would say I'm not the biggest fan of the way the film looks. Like, I could deal with it, but I'm just saying it's not really my preferred look of the film. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, but again, the whole filtered look thing, I did get more leniency on that on a TV show, and obviously that was the director's intention to have this look for. But I don't know, I just would have preferred a more natural look. Yeah, I like the film. I don't love the film, but at the same time, I can't really think of not really a lot of flaws I could think of it. I know that's weird, but sometimes that's how it is with me. Where I like the film, no, I don't find a lot of flaws with it, but something about it doesn't make me love it. I don't know why. Is something I can't put my finger on it or going, yeah, I liked it. It was interesting, to see Busta Rhymes in there. Because I always remember from Halloween Resurrection, trick or treat, motherfucker. He's been a lot of other stuff too, as well as his rapping career, but that's, anytime I think of Busta Rhymes, that's the number one thing I keep going back to. Trick or treat, motherfucker. I get a kick out of that. I know I'm not supposed to, but I get a lot of entertainment out of that. And Halloween Resurrection. But yeah, Narc is a pretty damn decent flick. If you like cop movies, again, it's not the same as Training Day, but just kind of in the same vein of that, or Dark Blue with Kurt Russell, or even The French Connection, or various other cop films. It's worth a look. It's worth a look. Joe Carnahan, not too bad on the direction. Like I say, it's more the script and the acting that is the MVPs of the film. I think Ray Liotta did a fantastic job. He really sold it. Part of me wish he would have lived at the end. I mean, I get it. That would have negated the emotional impact of the finale. But I just say that because I like Ray Liotta. And I would say I was a bit more interested in his character than Jason Patric. Not that I had anything against Jason Patric's character, it's just, honestly, I was just a bit more interested in Ray Liotta's character. But, with that said, yeah, Narc was a pretty decent flick. I liked it. Yes, a Joel Carnahan film, I liked. Hey, the sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while. So with that said, thanks again. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.